All right, so greetings and welcome everyone to Eagles Thrive Live, brought to you by the Eagles Prevention and Recovery Team. This monthly live stream is dedicated to empowering students through meaningful conversations on mental health, substance use, and overall well-being. Each session highlights important topics that impact our campus and community and shares practical strategies for building resilience and and thriving in life. Today's special guest is Dr. Tasheka Cox, and we're going to be talking about automatic negative thoughts. So, Dr. Cox, can you please tell us what is your current position and what motivated you to get to the role you're in now?
Sure. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me on today. I am very honored to do this live. Well, I am a psychotherapist and I own my own private practice. It's called Mind Over Mood Healing. And I'm also like a mental wellness coach, and I do some speaking engagements and some consulting. And I'm also an author of a couple of books. So my path to get here, it wasn't really a straight line. I actually started off college as a pre-med major, believe it or not. But then, I became more motivated by my own struggles with trauma and negative thoughts and feelings that I had to carry it all. So that's what really propelled me to try to understand like how the mind works and really how to break free from a lot of those patterns that keep people stuck, that have kept me stuck. And I was just really motivated to help heal myself and to help heal others, and just really try to help people make their life work in a way that was fulfilling for them and transformative for them. So that's what brought me into this work.
That's beautiful. I'm glad that you were able to like use your own experiences and try to change it into something that can help other people, especially the new generations to come. I think that it's also amazing too. As we were speaking, you are an alum of this institution, so it's great that you're able to give back in so many great ways. Um, so, as we're talking about automatic negative thoughts, how do you define them and what role do you think they play in our mental health?
Sure. So automatic negative thoughts, or ants, is what I call them. They're those like quick, uninvited thoughts that usually like pop into our head without us even realizing it. And sometimes they may sound like, I'm not smart enough, or I'll never get this right, or nobody cares about me. You ever had those like little, it's like these little
Mhm.
thoughts in the back of your head, right? And they matter because they really shape how you feel and what you do. And because they're like in the back of your head, sometimes you're not really noticing that that's what's occurring.
Mhm.
But as they keep going and staying on repeat, you might start notice yourself feeling a little like anxious or even sad. Um, and it's because those thoughts are there, right? So we want to be able to notice them and bring them to the forefront and really analyze them and challenge them and see, can I replace this thought with something that's more helpful for me and
Mhm.
something that is going to help me feel better, right?
Mhm.
And help me make better choices.
Yeah, that's such a good point and perspective. Like, I think this is my next question as well. Like, once you start having those negative thoughts, what is one thing that you can do to like flip the switch and try to reform to more positive thoughts?
Yeah. So that's that first being aware that they're there, right? We want to notice what those thoughts are. The way I like to do it is to first just like take a deep breath, right? Just take a deep breath. And then like ask yourself, like, what am I thinking about right now? Like, what are the thoughts that are going through my head? And then try to identify the ones that are not helpful. So maybe if the ones that you're noticing is, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not good enough, or I'm a failure, or I'm not going to get this right, those negative thoughts,
Mhm.
then you can, once you notice them, then you can almost like put them under a magnifying glass and analyze them and say, hey, is this thought helpful for me right now in this moment, right? Or is it not? And if it's not helpful for me, then I need to replace it or I need to change it or I need to reframe it into a more helpful thought. So we're changing it into something, we're not denying that the thought is there, right? Because we don't want to just be like, oh, you know, forget that thought. That doesn't really work. Right? We want to acknowledge it, but we also want to be intentional about changing it into something that does work. Like by actually saying, hey, what is true? What is true? I am smart. I'm in college. I got here, right? I was able to get here, right? I am
Mhm.
enough, right? So it's giving yourself the alternative to those thoughts,
hmm
the
That's
different.
so good. Like I think imposter syndrome is so real, especially in like today's climate, especially
Yeah,
thinking about us as Black women and being
yes.
in higher education. I think sometimes it's so hard um to just flip the switch, but you got to keep pushing, keep reminding yourself you're here for a reason. So that's great advice.
Hmm.
Um Okay, this kind of ties into what I just said, but how do you think that automatic negative thoughts affect people's relationships or work performance, as well as academics?
Mm. Yes, that definitely affects, it can affect your academics, your relationships, and your work performance. When we look at academics, right, ants can make you like second guess yourself. So maybe you're studying for an exam or you have an exam coming up, and your aunt is saying to you, I am going to fail this exam, right?
Mhm.
That that thought in and of itself can kill your focus and your confidence, right? Because if you're constantly thinking, I'm going to fail this exam, no matter what I do, I'm still going to fail this exam, right? Then you're like, okay, what's the point of me even studying for this exam? Or when I go into that exam, I'm not going to do well. So you're going to go in there with that negative attitude,
Mhm.
right? And in relationships, it's kind of similar because ants in relationships, they can show up as like assumptions.
Mm,
So maybe they probably don't like me. This person, that person that I'm dating, yeah, they're acting like they like me, but they probably don't, right? And when you have those repeated thoughts, those can make you pull away from the person that you're in a relationship with. So we want to find, as I said, back to finding what is actually true. Instead of just going with the assumption, where's the evidence to prove that that assumption is correct,
mhm,
right? And then when we talk about work, at work, oh, ants can show up there too a lot, right? Like you just talked about that imposter syndrome at
mhm,
work. We see that a lot. That shows up a lot. So, ants might sound like, I'm not good enough for this role. They hired me, but I don't really think that I'm really that good for this role, right?
mhm,
And that sometimes can make you stop from pursuing even further opportunities at work. So, there might be a promotion or an advancement at your job that you can possibly apply for,
mhm,
but because your aunts are telling you, nah, you're not gonna get that role or you're not good for that role, then you don't even go and apply, right? You don't even take the opportunity to advance yourself in that career. It keeps you small. It limits you and
mhm.
it prevents you from really exploring the other opportunities that you can have.
Yeah. It's a everyday gotta try and keep moving on from those thoughts.
Mhm.
When we think about ants and in the recovery process, how do you think that they can affect someone's process in the early stages of recovery?
Yeah, that's such a good question. Because in recovery, whether it's from stress, from burnout, from trauma,
Mm,
from substance, um, any of those early stages of recovery process,
mm,
that's a fragile time,
yeah.
right? And in that fragile time, if your aunts are whispering to you like you're not strong enough or you'll never change, that self-doubt within itself can sabotage your progress, right? So we want to start recognizing the ants for what they are. They are just thoughts. They're not facts, right? And when you recognize that, then you can take your power back
Mhm.
in those fragile stages of recovery, right?
Okay.
So we want to make sure that we're catching them and saying, this is just a thought. That's not true. That's not the
Mhm.
fact.
Mhm. Yeah, like positively affirm yourself. That's good.
Yes.
Yes. So I know that, of course, like we're talking about people individually, but mental health is not just you, it's your community, it's your peers, it's your mentors. So how can your community help you if you are dealing with automatic negative thoughts?
Another good question. I love these questions. Yes. See, the thing is that sometimes when we are wrapped up in our ants, we can't see clearly. It's
Mhm.
almost like, distorted because ants are another way of looking at them. They're like distorted lenses in which we look. You and I have on glasses right now, right?
Mhm.
And like when your glasses get smudged, how you're trying to look and you're trying to see a word, certain word, and it's like distorted. You can't really
Yeah.
see. So you have to take, your cleaner and you have to wipe off your glasses.
Mhm.
That's like what ants does. It distorts our lens.
Mhm.
So it prevents us from seeing things clearly. And sometimes, somebody else can point out to you just in that same example with our glasses, they could
Mhm.
be like, girl, that's an A. That's not a
Mhm.
C, right? So that's how our community can help us.
Mhm.
Like if whether it be our peers or a mentor, they can remind us that that thought that you're having isn't true. I know you. Look at what you've already accomplished. Look at what you've already done.
Mhm.
You are enough. You are worthy. You are smart, right? You can do this.
Mhm.
So, having that support and that community around you can help you see things differently so that you're not just sitting in your ants, right? So that you're able to say, hey, somebody else sees something differently than what I see. So let me see if that is actually accurate. And a
Mhm.
lot of times when we go and we, see, then we'll see that, yeah, what they're seeing is actually the truth,
Hmm. Yeah,
right?
sometimes it's even better hearing it from someone else
Yeah.
and having them remind you like, okay, I'm doing what I need to do. Like I'm here for a reason. You have a
Mhm.
purpose. Whatever you're striving to get to, you can get to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are all really good points.
I just want to add one more
Oh,
point to that too. What's good about having support and community is that other people too might share that they're struggling with some of those negative thoughts, and then you can see that you're not really alone,
oh yeah.
right? That you're
Hmm.
not the only one, that there's other people also fighting with these automatic negative thoughts, and that alone too can bring a lot of encouragement and support. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I just think that's an important point to
Yeah.
emphasize that you're not
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah, because we're all human. We all
Yeah.
deal with so many similar things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to recovery as well. So how can addressing automatic negative thoughts help someone build resilience and confidence if they're in long-term recovery?
hmm Another good one. Good. Just come up with the good questions. I love it. The thing is, when you are consistently challenged with ants, automatic negative thoughts, when you're consistently challenged with them and then you consistently challenge them,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like you're building a mental muscle.
Mm,
And every time that you're able to catch an ant and challenge it and change it, like if you say, I can't do this, right? If your ant is saying that you can't do this, and
mm-hmm.
then you challenge it and change it and you say, I'll try to do this,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're proving to yourself in those instances that you are stronger than your thoughts. And over time, that creates resilience, and that helps you to bounce back quicker,
Mm-hmm.
right? We want to be able to build that confidence within ourselves so that we can rely on ourselves and trust ourselves more. And because, we know life is going to throw us curveballs. Life is
Mm-hmm.
going to be life in because that's what
Yeah.
life does, right? So each time that we're able to catch one of those ants, challenge that ant, and change that ant, is giving us like more confidence and more resilience and saying to ourselves that we can do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, those are such great points. Thank you for that.
Mm,
Um, oh, this is a really good question too. So if someone's in those beginning stages of working through their ants, like let's say they're coming out of this live stream, they're like, okay, I'm gonna start working on my ants.
mm,
How long do you think it takes for someone to see progress in transforming those ants?
yeah. And it varies.
Yeah.
It varies because some people might notice a shift almost right away, maybe in a matter of weeks, especially if they're practicing it daily, right?
Hmm.
Every single time that they notice their ant, they catch it, they challenge it, they change it, then they're going to notice the shift quicker. But for some other people, it might take months and it might take, a little bit longer. But the key isn't speed, right? We're
Hmm.
not here trying to see who's going to finish, who's going to get to the finish line the quickest. We want to see consistency.
Hmm.
So we want to give ourselves grace because sometimes we miss them. Listen, I am an expert in this area and sometimes I miss mine. Okay. And I'm like, feeling that way. Oh, that ant, right? So it's the consistency. It's not necessarily the speed. So it just depends. Everybody's going to go at a different rate.
Hmm.
And if you think about it, like, when you go to the gym and you work out, I don't know if you go to the gym, but,
I
like,
do. I
you do, okay, okay. I do
do.
too. I love working out. But if you think about it, like when you go work out, you don't get stronger when you go to the gym after
Just
one
one
time.
day. Hmm.
Yeah. Mm-mm. No, right? You have to be consistent. You
Hmm.
have to keep going because it's over time and doing the reps that you build that muscle. And it's
Hmm.
the same thing with our mind. We're trying to build a new muscle, right? Or a new neural pathway. We're trying to build a
Yeah.
new way of thinking.
Hmm.
And so that takes repetition and that takes time.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Like, I think that our society is so built on instant gratification. Like,
Mhm.
even if you think of just like Instacart and DoorDash,
Yeah.
you can just
Yeah.
go on your phone and say, okay, I want this delivered. And they have Express now. You can get it delivered in like 15 to 30 minutes. So we always
Oh,
want these
okay.
changes to happen like instantly, but it takes time. Like, it does
Yeah.
take time. Um,
Yeah, we have a microwave culture, but unfortunately, this stuff isn't microwave.
hmm.
I tell people all the time, it took a number of years to get to where you are.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a little bit of time to move from that to where you want to be. So you
Hmm.
want to give yourself grace,
Exactly.
right?
Grace, that's a good point.
Yes.
Yes. What practices do you personally find most effective in managing your own negative thoughts?
Oh, yes. Oh, my practices. So I have a daily routine, a daily practice where I start my day off grounding myself in prayer and meditation and in affirmations.
Mhm.
And it's when I pause and I notice like my negative thoughts or any thoughts that I'm having in those moments that I am able to come back quicker to what it is that is affirming to me, right? So I set my intentions early in the morning, like
Mhm.
daily. It's where I ground myself
Mhm.
so that when I enter the day, because the thoughts will come. I mean, as I said, life, right? And you're dealing with all kind of things throughout the day. So the thoughts will come. But when I ground myself in my daily practices, my prayer, my meditation, my affirmations, my working out too, that one too, right? It gives me the mental strength in a
Mhm.
sense, right? Like that mental muscle we were talking
Yeah.
about earlier, that mental power to be able to kind of like, fight off the ants as they come throughout the day. So
Mhm.
I really, really encourage others to develop a daily routine, a daily practice that's something that's grounding for you
Mhm.
and something that can help you set the stage for whatever it is to come
Mhm.
throughout your
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I'm very similar to you. Like, I will start my mornings. I have a dog, so I usually
Yeah.
wake up early and I'll
Mhm.
take him on a walk. And then once I come in, I'll make my coffee, have my devotional, and just woosah before the day
Mhm.
starts and remind
Yes.
yourself that things are going to come up, but how you react is what's the most important part. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And reminding yourself, like, I can take this, whatever happens today, right? I can take it one step at a time. I can face it one step at a time.
Hmm.
Like I can do it. And I have support people to
Yeah.
help me as well, right? That I'm not
Mhm.
alone again. We want to
Yeah.
always remind ourselves that, right? There's people here that will be willing to support us because sometimes even in grounding yourself in your intention and setting your intentions for the day as things comes, some things you can manage on your own, but other things you need support.
Hmm.
So allowing yourself that grace again, right? That ability to just like say, hey, this is something I could deal with. This is something that I can't. And if I can't, this is where I can go and get support.
Hmm. Yes. Such
Mhm.
great points. And we are actually nearing the end of our time. So before I end, I want to thank you again. And I also wanted to ask, is there anything that you would like to leave our audience with?
Yeah, thank you so much, Adora, for this invitation. I am very honored again to be here and to share my expertise on ants because ants is something that we do have to pay attention to
Mhm.
because they do have the ability to affect how we feel and what we do. So I would just want to remind everyone, listen, we do not have to believe everything that we think, okay? Our thoughts are not always facts,
Mhm.
right? Just because we think it doesn't mean that it is.
Yeah.
So we want to challenge it. And we also want to know that, we're stronger, more capable, more worthy than sometimes our minds try to let us believe. And we can start small. We don't have to, be grandiose here.
Mhm.
We can start small. And if we start small and just try to catch maybe like one ant at a time and try to challenge that one ant and try to replace that one ant, we can have a place that we can build upon.
Mhm.
Because over time, we can notice that these small shifts that we make, that they have the ability to change our whole story, to rewrite our narrative, right?
Yeah.
Went into the narrative that we want to live by, not the narrative that's, keeping us stuck and keeping us feeling down or, keeping us doing things that we don't necessarily want to do.
Mhm.
We want to rewrite that narrative into one that is more purpose-driven, more meaningful,
Yeah.
more value aligned, right? So I would just remind everyone that today that progress isn't always you're not always going to see it right away.
Mhm.
So take your time, be gentle with yourself, and allow yourself to explore here, explore what your thoughts are and really pay attention to them and really do the work,
Yeah.
right? You got to do the work
Mhm.
because it's not just going to automatically happen.
Yeah.
You got to do the work, but you can do it.
Yes.
Your thoughts are powerful, but so are you. You are powerful too. So that's what I will leave you guys with. And I also wrote a book on this topic as well. It's called Ants Be Gone,
Mhm.
Breaking Free from Automatic Negative Thoughts. So if anyone, would like to check that book out, you can find that on Amazon as well. And you can also find me at my website, which is mindovermoodhealing.com as well if you need some additional support. So thank you so much, Adora, for
Thank
this
you again.
time.
Yes, thank you guys so much for joining.